What's up, guys? It's Christian Welch with the Fantasy Authority, aka Evil Empire FF on Twitter, bringing you another Mock Draft Monday today. Today, I'm bringing you SuperFlex. So rather than a strategy, I'm going to show you how to navigate a SuperFlex draft. So for those of you that don't know, a SuperFlex league is a league where you can play a second quarterback. Now, you're not required to play a second quarterback. In that extra SuperFlex spot, you can play a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, or a tight end. Now, you're going to have a massive positional advantage if you start that second quarterback every single week. Just to give you a quick example, last year in 2020, 16 quarterbacks averaged over 20 fantasy points per game, while only 5 running backs averaged over 20 points per game. So more than 3 times the amount of quarterbacks averaged 20 points per game than running backs. So in a Superflex league where we have the option to start that second quarterback, we are going to do so every week. Even if we don't end up with 2 elite quarterbacks, a middle-of-the-road quarterback is going to be right there with your top running backs. So let's go ahead and hop in and figure out how to attack this strategy, really, but this format. This is going to be a PPR league. We're going to be picking from the 5th spot. And one thing you'll notice if you're used to playing in one quarterback leagues is the quarterbacks are going to go way earlier than you're used to. So in a one quarterback league, usually we're waiting until later in the draft, ideally the 8th round or so for a quarterback. If we're taking Mahomes, maybe the 3rd, Allen and Murray, maybe the 4th. In this, you're going to see the quarterbacks are going off in the 1st. Here you had Mahomes, Jackson, McCaffrey, Cook up top. 2 quarterbacks already gone. Here at the 5 spot, we're going to go ahead and take Josh Allen to be our quarterback 1. And that's really the biggest thing. If this is your first year ever playing in a Superflex league, you're not going to be used to seeing these quarterbacks go off the board before the running backs and before the elite wide receivers and before the elite tight ends. But in Superflex, they are absolutely going to take that priority. I'm somebody that I love having 2 elite quarterbacks. I'm somebody that does look to double tap here at the beginning of the draft, 1st and 2nd round on quarterback. Now, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. We got Wilson, we got Herbert, we got Rodgers, we got Hurts. There's a lot of quarterbacks I like here. So I want to hop over to tight end, see if there's, maybe Travis Kelce slipped. He didn't, but I've got my choice here of Darren Waller and George Kittle, which I love to get that, again, another positional advantage at tight end. Wide receiver, there's Justin Jefferson, there's A.J. Brown, there's DK Metcalf. So we still have those top 3 young receivers after you get past Hill and Diggs that everybody wants. They're still here for the taking. At running back, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Gibson, Mixon. I'm not as excited about that group as I am having the opportunity to get one of Jefferson, Brown, or Metcalf, Waller or Kittle, or a Russell Wilson over here. So here, I'm going to take the positional advantage and take Darren Waller. With Justin Herbert and Aaron Rodgers still being there behind Russell Wilson, I think I can take the chance of one of those guys being there the next round. So I'm going to go ahead and take Darren Waller, just a massive target machine out there in Las Vegas. As our first pass catcher. So we'll see what makes it back to us in the 3rd round. Kittle is still there. Somebody's going to get a steal, but here's where I'm absolutely going to look at quarterback. There's Justin Herbert, and at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take him. There's some guys I like here at the bottom, but again, I'm somebody that likes to have those elite quarterbacks. Just to look at it, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's a guy I expect to have a big year. Who else are we looking at here coming up soon? There's Tom Brady, another massive year. So again, I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing here. So let's entertain not taking Justin Herbert for a second, and let's see what we can get. Cam Akers, Antonio Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DeAndre Swift. We can get one of those premier second-year running backs right there. At wide receiver, DK Metcalf is still there. We've got some decisions to make here. I mean, this is ridiculous options we have in this round. We could double tap tight end, which would strap us too much at running back and wide receiver, I feel like. But let's figure out what we want to do here between Herbert, one of these second-year running backs, and then DK Metcalf sitting there, the last of that top tier, in my opinion. I think I'm going to go Metcalf just to see how this goes because we got 4 of these running backs here. I think one of these guys will be here for us in the next round. If we're going to go this route to load up on the skill positions, we're not going to get Justin Herbert, but maybe we can get a Ryan Tannehill down here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll take Metcalf, get us an alpha receiver, hope that we get one of these great running backs here in the next round. We'll peek at quarterback, of course, and see who made it through. If Herbert made it through, I'll be doing cartwheels over here. He didn't. There's Tannehill. Burrow's a guy I like a lot. Ryan and Lawrence to me are a little step down from there. So Tannehill's the guy that I'm probably going to end up going with here. At running back, we did have DeAndre Swift make it through. Let's see. I'm at 4.8 now. My next pick is at 5.5. There's a chance Ryan Tannehill doesn't go if I want to get Swift, but I like David Montgomery enough that's going behind Swift to where I'm comfortable going ahead and taking Ryan Tannehill here, since we already pushed it around more than I usually would. So we'll go ahead and take Ryan Tannehill here as our quarterback. Let me click over here to the roster tab here on the left where we can kind of get a good look of the team we're building as we're going. So far we have Josh Allen at quarterback, DK Metcalf at wide receiver, Darren Waller at tight end, and then Ryan Tannehill as our second quarterback. So we're off to a great start so far. We are absolutely going to get a third quarterback at some point, but we are set with two absolute top-end quarterbacks, so we're going to ignore quarterback for a little while. And now here, we've still got our choice of Carson, Sanders, and Montgomery. CeeDee Lamb, those stud wide receivers that were left have gone, so we're down to Evans, Johnson, Kupp, Lockett, Adam Thielen here. So I'm not crazy about that wide receiver group. We know we're already good at tight end. There's no way George Kittle's still hanging around, right? No way. So let's go ahead and back over to running back. I'm going to take David Montgomery here. I know he's not a super popular player among fantasy pundits, if you will, but he's a guy that is just productive. Tariq Cohen seems that he's trending behind on his injury, so maybe a lot of that passing work is not going away for David Montgomery this year. So I'm going to go ahead and take Montgomery of this group. He's the guy I trust the most at this point. And now we're looking pretty good. We got our two quarterbacks. We got a running back. We got a wide receiver. We got a tight end. We got a very balanced roster so far. So we can really take a best player available approach because we're not struggling anywhere in our roster build at this point. Here's what's available at quarterback if we were to wait this long. Again, we are not interested in taking a quarterback at this point. This group here at running back, Mike Davis is by far my favorite. He's a guy that I feel is looking at anywhere between 200 to 250 carries this year, anywhere from 40 to 60 receptions as well. So just a massive year I expect Mike Davis to have. He was very productive in Carolina last year, and now he's getting all the volume in Atlanta. He's who I'm looking at there at running back. Here at wide receiver, out of this group, Chase Claypool interests me the most. 9 touchdowns last year as a rookie. Just an incredible athlete. There's Jamar Chase, though, popping in there. So it's interesting to me he wasn't up top there on the suggestions. So I'm actually going to go ahead and come over to the cheat sheet here, make sure I'm not missing something that I would regret. And let's see what we got here. This will let me look at all the positions at one time. So we got Claypool there. We got Chase. Interesting decision between those two. Chase is just an incredible prospect, but we haven't seen it yet. Claypool had the 9 touchdowns last year. Running back gets pretty thin after Mike Davis, other than the rookies. You're taking a shot on ETN and Williams, really taking a big chunk of the work on their teams. Here, I think there's a chance Mike Davis slips to the next round because he's not a sexy name. And I also think I may have a shot at either ETN or Williams there. So I'm thinking about going wide receiver here. And I'm going to take the upside of Jamar Chase. I've taken Chase Claypool in a couple of these, but I'm going to go ahead and take Jamar Chase here. Could be the wide receiver 1 in Cincinnati. Could be T. Higgins, but, Jamar Chase is one of the best prospects I've ever seen as far as, breakout age, all the analytics. I mean, this guy is a guy that flawless profile coming in. And I love Joe Burrow, love the Bengals. I'll go ahead and take Jamar Chase here. And let's hop back over to the main page and kind of reset and see where we're at. Looking at our roster here again on the left, we've got Josh Allen, Montgomery, Metcalf, and Chase, Waller, Ryan Tannehill. And just like I wanted, Mike Davis made it through. Chase Claypool even made it through. So let's reevaluate the board. If ETN and Williams are still there, it looks like ETN may have went. Yeah, ETN went. Williams is still there. To me, this really thins out. I mean, Gaskin's okay. I have my doubts there. I like Salvin Ahmed. They brought in Malcolm Brown. I really don't feel good about running backs in this draft past Mike Davis and Javonte Williams. As much as I would love to go ahead and take Chase Claypool as well, I've got to go ahead and grab my guy Mike Davis here because I feel I'd just be gambling too much if I let it go further than here. Javonte Williams is still there this round. Let me pop back over and see if somehow Chase Claypool's made it through. But with running back thinning out, I am most likely going to go ahead and take Javonte Williams there. We'll see if he has the role at the beginning of the year, but as the season progresses, I really see him being a workhorse for Denver by the time the fantasy playoffs get here. So I'll go ahead and take Javonte Williams. And we went from having kind of a thin running back room with just Montgomery to now we have Montgomery, Mike Davis, and Javonte Williams. So building some depth in the running back room. James Robinson's a guy I like here. We didn't get ETN. I think Robinson's going to get a lot of the carries. So he's a guy that interests me. But let's check out wide receiver real quick. See, it really thinned out. Claypool's gone. Corey Davis, I'm not in on. Devontae Parker, I'm not in on. I do like Michael Gallup of this group. but I'm not sure that I love him right here. So we may end up going ahead and taking our fourth running back. There's Dallas Goedert looking good at tight end. Noah Fant. I like these two tight ends. This is where I'm going to come over to quarterback and see what's here. So Baker, Tua, Daniel Jones, Ben Roethlisberger. Let's look at the quarterbacks I have now. I have Josh Allen, who's an absolute MVP candidate. I've got Ryan Tannehill, who's probably that next tier down. He's got an upgrade with Julio Jones this year. I've got two QB1s in my opinion. I would love it if either Trey Lance or Justin Fields were still on the board, and they both are. And it seems like, maybe I've got my dynasty mindset too much thinking about them already, but it seems like they're going to be here for a little bit. So I would much rather land one of those guys with their intense dual threat upside and the fact that they're going to have the starting jobs at some point in the season, rather than taking guys I'm not crazy about like Baker, Daniel Jones. I like Tua a little better than those two. But with the way this is looking, I think I'm going to wait and try to get Fields or Lance in the next round. So let's really look at this. Who is the best player available that I can take? And for me, it's screaming that it's James Robinson. This guy scored 250 fantasy points last year as a rookie. They did draft ETN, but I just do not believe that you're going to abandon this type of production. So let's go ahead and grab James Robinson. We are now 4 running backs deep. We probably need to add some wide receivers, but wide receivers probably the deepest position in fantasy football right now. So I feel like we're in pretty good shape. Looks like Baker went there, and it looks like Trey Lance went as well. So we're going to go ahead and take Justin Fields here since Trey Lance went. Fields should just go right behind him. So we're going to go ahead and take Justin Fields. And again, like I said, he may not start at the beginning of the year, but that dual threat upside that he brings, he will at some point take over for the Bears. If I have anything happen to Josh Allen or Ryan Tannehill by the time the playoffs get here, I will be thrilled that I have Justin Fields on my team. We absolutely need to address wide receiver now. We only have Metcalf and Chase. So let's come over here and find some production at wide receiver. So we're late enough into the draft again to where I want to click the cheat sheet link and kind of look down and, really see what I'm looking at. You got Mike Williams, the wide receiver 2 in L.A. Marvin Jones joining Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville with Chark and Chenault. We'll see who's going to lead in targets there. Jalen Reagor looks to be the number, I guess 1B, probably the number 2 behind Smith and Philly. I really don't like this group, but I'm going to go with the upside here. Rashad Bateman is the number 1 in Baltimore, in my opinion. I expect him to see 120 targets or so this year at least. So I'm going to take Rashad Bateman, and Fantasy Pros Draft Wizard's probably going to tell me that's a little bit of a reach at this point. But, I've been down the Mike Williams road too many times. I'll go ahead and take the person who hasn't burned me here that I love the profile on. So give me Rashad Bateman here. What we got after this? So we've got 3 more bench spots to fill before taking our kicker and defense. We've only got 3 wide receivers, so we probably need to get 2 more there. We're good at running back. We have the elite tight end. We'll see if there's some value sitting there for us. But great draft so far, in my opinion. I'm really liking this roster. So they're suggesting Cole Beasley at wide receiver. Not into that. Jamal Williams is the best overall player. Again, I really don't feel we need another running back. We have some solid guys there. I would take another quarterback towards the end of this. There's some value hanging out here. Like, I don't think Zach Wilson and Derek Carr should still be available to this point. So if we need to hoard some quarterbacks because we're not loving anyone else, we will. If somebody loses a quarterback, I promise you can get whatever you want to if you have a starting quarterback that's quality. So I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Reagor here, though. He's a guy that I feel, didn't get a fair shake last year. I love his talent, and he is the number 2 in Philly at least, if not the number 1. They just don't have many options there. So I'll go ahead and take Reagor and hope for the best. We're getting late in the draft, and that's the thinnest area that we have right now at wide receiver. So looks like Derek Carr went off the board. If Zach Wilson's still hanging out here, it's going to be hard not to take him. There's Darnold too. I mean, now I will say this: we are doing a simulated draft here. I do think these guys will be gone at this point, most likely in a real draft in a SuperFlex league. So keep that in mind. But if there's no one else I love here, we will grab that 4th one just because, again, that's trade leverage, that's insurance for you. If you lose a guy like Dak like last year, you'll love having one of those guys. So I'm going to go ahead and actually take Mike Gesicki here, though. This is a guy that looked tremendous with Tua last year. I've got him, I believe, tight end to 8 this year, and he's still hanging around. We already have Darren Waller, but we're just building bench depth at this point. I'll go ahead and take Gesicki, and we'll see who the best available wide receiver is, but we'll probably finish off with Zach Wilson if he's still hanging out. All right, so over to the wide receiver tab. Not into any of these guys. I mean, John Brown's been a fine player, but not really in on Las Vegas's passing game outside of Waller. Aguilar, I just do not understand that contract. Crowder, I mean, that's Elijah Moore's job. Beasley's threatening retirement. I don't like any of these guys. So let me hop over to the cheat sheets before I take a 4th quarterback. Yeah, I'm going to take Elijah Moore. So I figured he would be gone by now. He's been getting tremendous hype. He's been going pretty early, even in these mock draft simulators. I'm thrilled to see him here with as thin of a wide receiver room as we have. I think the upside there is tremendous. Bringing in Elijah Moore on our last bench spot, I'm pretty excited about it. I didn't think we'd have the opportunity to get him. Like I said, my plan was to take that fourth quarterback as he looked like the best value on the board. So let's go ahead and take our defense and our kicker and get this thing finished up, and we'll kind of recap the roster. Best available defense is Tampa Bay. Can't complain there after what they did to Kansas City in the Super Bowl. And then we'll just take the best available kicker, and like I said, we'll go through the roster, see what we like, see what we don't like. But I'm feeling pretty good about this one just from going through it. So let this finish up and give us a grade. C-. I completely disagree with that. But like I said, a lot of the quarterbacks were going a little later than I would have expected in real life. So ignore my C-, at least for my ego, please. But let's look at this thing. Josh Allen and Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, both QB1s all day. David Montgomery, Mike Davis, Javonte Williams, and James Robinson at running back. DK Metcalf, Jamar Chase, Jalen Reagor, and Elijah Moore at wide receiver. So wide receiver is definitely our thinnest position, but we have that absolute alpha DK Metcalf that is 100% a wide receiver one. Where we lack at wide receiver, we 100% make up right here with Darren Waller. Darren Waller is, absolutely the tight end two in 2021. And, we've got him locked up there. No one else has that going unless they have Kelsey and Kittle. So crazy positional advantage for us there. And again, we can't forget that we have two quarterback ones. A lot of the people that are going to have better wide receiver rooms than us are going to have one good quarterback, and then they'll be bringing in a Matt Ryan or names are escaping me right now, but guys ranked in that quarterback, 20 to 28 range. So we're sitting here with two quarterback ones, the number two tight end, a running back room that may not be sexy. We've kind of got the, bringing your lunch pail to work guys that aren't flashy names, but man, did they carry the ball and put up numbers. On the bench, like I said, we got the upside with Justin Fields. So we have the stud quarterback room. We may not need Justin Fields this year, but if we have an injury, like I said, we saw it with Dak last year. You can lose your best quarterback at any time. We've got Justin Fields, a guy that brings dual threat ability and 100% is going to be the starting quarterback of the Bears before the end of the season. We got Rashad Bateman and Jalen Reagor, crazy good NFL draft capital, and arguably each of them have a shot to be the number one wide receiver on their team. Mike Gesicki, great target for Tua at the end of last year, backing up Waller. We're probably not going to use him, but he was the best value on the board at the time. And then again, the gift there at the end, I was thrilled to see Elijah Moore still sitting there. I feel like he's usually going a couple rounds before that. So let me know what you guys think about this team. Even if you don't like it, it's not a 70 out of 100 like Fantasy Pros Draft Simulator says here. I personally like this team a lot. I love the two guys I have at quarterback. Again, I got the lunch pail guys at running back, some upside at receiver, and then Darren Waller. Let me know what you guys think. I like it, but that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you next time.